right, welcome back. Another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
Or is it dark beer, light money?
Well,
It could be either.
Could be either. Supreme Court is likely to overturn Roe v. Wade based on this leaked initial draft by Alito.
Which was done in February.
Wrote
98
it in
pages,
February.
ruthlessly footnoted and cited.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of work. I mean, they had this vote apparently, as the justices will do. They'll do oral arguments, then they'll do a little conference, and they'll do a little poll, see where people are. As far as we know, there are 5 justices that voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. We're not sure where Justice Roberts is on this. And frankly, we shouldn't yet because they haven't released the opinion, but that got co-opted by someone.
It's May, so you've got to think that there's been a lot of back and forth since February. And certainly if they've decided on an opinion and then voted on it, there's dissenting opinions, concurring opinions. Everyone's going to have their piece in here.
Yeah.
At some point.
The only thing, so I was shocked. I was shocked.
Yeah, we just
leak.
finished another podcast, and I made the point that I am not shocked. I'm not shocked of the leak.
I was shocked,
and because of the coordination that happened. Because the coordination that happened afterwards. But what I am shocked by, if it is a conservative staffer or a liberal staffer, it seems like.
Arguments
I saw something
way.
today that Joe Scarborough was claiming that it could be somebody on the conservative side who leaked it to get it out in the purview.
Well, the argument would be if a conservative did it to show that there was 5 votes to overturn, and they wanted to hold those guys.
They wanted to hold them to account.
I don't think that was necessary.
The other point is that it came from a liberal clerk or justice to pressure one of the 5 to change. So the coordination afterwards by liberal activists was which is what made me think that maybe this had been in the works.
See, I will say I understand where you're coming from. I will also say they tend to move very fast anyway.
And I think you're right with that. What I'm shocked by is regardless if it is a clerk, conservative or liberal, you're going to get your 15 minutes of fame because they're going to find out who you are. And then your life is going to be pretty much over.
Well, you'd hope. I mean, that's just a breach of everything.
It's an egregious breach. I completely agree with that.
And
regardless of what you think about
if
the
you're
opinion,
a lawyer, if I was a judge looking for clerks, or if I was a law firm looking for lawyers, would I want to have somebody who did that kind of a breach? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe they should just do a GoFundMe, and the liberals can throw a bunch of money at them, and they can retire. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps.
But speaking of money, part of why I'm not certain it was a coordinated thing. One, it's very risky. But when in the 24 hours that after Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, Democrats through Act Blue raised $30 million.
Yeah.
$30 million.
Of course.
In the 24 hours following this leak, they've raised $12 million on Act Blue. So it's interesting to me that when she died, the how charged up people were about her vacancy was huge, but the idea that this is the actual decision that overturns Roe is less than half of that. That I point to that.
Okay.
Because
that's new information. That's great.
I believe that is an indicator that this is not going to be the death knell for Republican gains that some Democrats are trying to claim. Oh, Democrats are going to keep the House. They're going to keep the Senate. This guarantees Joe Biden's path to victory in 2024.
Well, because the general polling on abortion has been moving in a different direction for several decades now, and especially when it comes to the issue of viability and the issue of late-term abortions. And there's a lot of support majority support for having limitations
Right.
and strict limitations. And there's not a lot of support by both Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, for what type of things that are coming out of New York City, New York State, California, for this idea of abortion up until birth, which is nothing short of infanticide. And so but based on the draft decision and the leak, all this does is push things back to the states, which is where they belong. And many states have been enacting, well, obviously with the specific case, Mississippi enacting a 15-week standard for when you can have an abortion. Other states have 20 weeks. Other states have 24 weeks. And that is up to the states.
Right.
And it seems to me that's the way it should be.
And interestingly,
regardless of what you think, like I look at California, I look at what they're wanting to do to create, a tourism for abortion. Well, if that's the state you want to live in, the Constitution allows for that.
Yeah, and it is, and because of the very nature of what overturning Roe v. Wade does, which is to give it back to the states, these people on Twitter who say, this is they're trying to ban abortion nationwide. Well, no, they're not.
No.
That's not what this is about.
I think what's really interesting, what's happened in the last 48 hours, is some of the stuff that's coming out of the president's mouth, which is completely nonsensical in terms of what the overall goal is for
there's
for a decision like
there's
this.
the hard left arguing, oh, this is just the first step, and a bunch of other, and you know what, we are advocates of states' rights. We believe that states.
We
should
believe
make
in federalism.
Yeah,
there's a reason why we have a
tenet
constitution.
of the Constitution,
and why every state has a constitution.
Right. So the thing the piece that I've learned, because I have not been an avid person consuming news about abortion and those kinds of things as a matter of course, I didn't know until yesterday that most of our European allies, right, most of the modern European countries, have restrictions on when you can get an abortion that are much more strict than most of the states here in the United States. The most liberal is France, I believe, which is 14 weeks, and by far the majority of European countries are 12 weeks.
Yeah,
and people were freaking out about Mississippi, this case, being at 15 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just very fascinating.
In terms of our 50-year debate on abortion policy in the country, we are in line with China and North Korea. And so, if anything, when you hear or see tweets of people are going to leave America, well, no, you're not going to leave America. You might want to leave,
leave Texas and go to California.
Leave Texas and go to California if that's something that's
or leave Mississippi and go to Alabama because Alabama's got something that's more than 15 weeks.
Exactly. So I think a lot of this is to raise money. If they are indeed raising that type of money right now, or not, is going to be interesting to see. Is this going to be a hot button issue leading into November? It's really going to depend on the pocketbook issues and where we are.
Well, I believe that the inflation's not going anywhere. Those pocketbook issues are going to be the drivers. The inflation, the economy. I think the border is still going to be a big issue. Will this motivate some folks on the edges?
Sure.
On the margins, I guess I should say. I'm not going to say the fringes because the fringes are already very motivated. But yeah, there might be younger voters who are, this is outrageous, and they don't understand what this means, and so I'm going to go vote for Democrats because they're going to codify whatever that means, Roe v. Wade.
If anything, what the court has tried to instruct our legislatures to do is to, if this is the desire of the people, then codify it.
Yeah.
But the federal government is never going to do that. They would have done it already. And the states are moving forward based upon their, who they elected.
Well, and that goes to an argument that I've
federalism.
heard that the part of the reason Democrats are going to have a hard time motivating people on this is they're going to say, this time vote for us because we'll finally make Roe v. Wade the law of the land.
But that's not a winning.
We didn't do it when Obama had both houses of Congress and was the president. We haven't done it with Biden having both houses of Congress and the presidency. So now do it. I just don't think it's going to help them.
I think it's a difficult argument when you have states enacting either limits, strict limits on abortion or abortion on demand. And so abortion, you can't say has been outlawed or banned in any sense. So I think it's a difficult argument.
We know
to
for
say.
certain it hasn't because the ruling hasn't come out.
The ruling
yet.
hasn't come out, but pushing to states to do what they feel they need to do, that's up to the states
And it's
the
better
governors and their legislatures.
if you are ardently pro-choice, then you have a better chance of making that case at a state level than you do at the federal level.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and same with being ardently pro-life.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of friends who are very much pro-choice and family and what have you. Listen, it's going to be up to the states, and that's where it should have been from the beginning.
it should have been from the beginning.
We could have saved ourselves 50 years of rancor.
Yeah, agreed.
And on the National Day of Prayer, I would just pray for our country to have some healing.
Yep. There you go. All right. Well, with that, God bless.
God bless.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.